Here we go. So, I like telling stories. I like catching big fish. And so I'm going to put it all together and tell you the story about how, when, and where I caught my biggest fish ever. I was fishing a Bassmaster Elite Series tournament on the St. Johns River, which is in Palatka, Florida, which is a really cool place. At one time it was called the Big Bass Capital of the World. May still be called the Big Bass Capital of the World. But anyway, I was fishing day one of the tournament, and never really settled down. So I ran here, ran there, and never really settled down and fished a whole bunch. I ended up catching 4 fish for 8 pounds at the end of the tournament with a 3-pounder. That was my biggest fish. I had 4 fish for 8 pounds with a 3-pounder. And I was in like 80-something place in the tournament. But I was okay with it because I liked it at St. Johns River. A lot of fish lived there, a lot of big fish. So I came up with this plan that the next day I was going to do something totally different area. That was my brilliant plan to come back in this tournament. Well, it ended up being a ridiculous plan that didn't work because at 12 o'clock I didn't have a bite. Hadn't had a bite on one of the best fishers in the country. So I finally made a good decision, and I said I'm going to go back to this one stretch in the lake that I like to fish. I fished before. I've caught them there before. That's the place where I have the most confidence on the lake. I said I'm going to go back there and drop my trolling motor, and I'm going to fish that way until it's time for me to leave to go check in for the tournament. And so I get there, I drop the trolling motor, and I picked up a rod with a ribbit, a reeling frog on it, and I started going. And even though I didn't have a fish, and it's like 12:15 to 12:20, I felt calm because I was fishing a stretch that I had a lot of confidence in. I had caught them before. And I'm just fishing, and about 12:30, I make a long cast with that ribbit over some eelgrass, and I'm reeling. Big old bite. Comes up, and big old fish comes up and bites it. When a fish bites it, I know it's at least 6 pounds just for the bite, because that's about what it sounded like. So I set the hook. When I set the hook, I knew it was bigger than 6 because of the way it was handling me. I knew it was like 7 pounds or so. And as I'm fighting, I'm thinking that's an 8-pounder, and it's cutting across, and I'm like, might be a 9-pounder. And I fight it, and I get it to the boat, and I'm standing on the deck, and I don't know what to do with it. I'm thinking about flipping it. Do I grab it? Do I lip it? I'm like, man, you can't flip no 10-pounder. Now I think it's a 10-pounder. So I come down the driver's seat of my boat, and I go to grab him, but I can't get his mouth right. I can't get my hand at the right angle to get his mouth. So instead of putting my thumb in his mouth, I just put my forefinger in his mouth and grabbed him like this over the side of the boat. When I went to pick him up, I remember I had to grab him and had to grab him like a man to move him. And I picked him up and put him in the boat. And it was a fish about this big. Put him in the boat. That fish ended up weighing 10 pounds, 5 ounces. Biggest fish I ever caught in my life. Put him in the boat, stood back up, kept fishing, and I think I had 2.5 hours left to fish or so. And within 2.5 hours, I put 4 more fish in the boat, and they weighed 22.3, which included my personal best 10 pounds, 5 ounce bass, and jumped me up from 85th in the tournament to 33rd, I think. So personal best 10.5. That's the big fish part of the story. The tournament part of the story is got in an area where I was comfortable and just started fishing and let it happen. So luckily I caught my biggest one 10.5 on top water. That's the real story.